Shut up and sit down.
Hello and welcome back to Around the Nati. This is episode 25. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Logan.
And we're here to talk some Cincinnati sports.
Absolutely.
It's a good time to be a Cincinnati fan.
How about them Bengals?
We got some Bengals who are 5-2, top of the AFC North and the AFC as a whole. And the number 2 ranked UC Bearcats.
That's right. I mean, they've been playing well, both UC and the Bengals. It's been fun to watch, honestly. For me, UC wasn't really a surprise. Maybe to the level, or maybe the national recognition they've been getting has been surprising, just because we're so used to getting put on the back burner and being shafted in many ways. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just, kind of like overlooked, and it's nice to be able to get that. And then, obviously moving to the Big 12, you had a lot of momentum going into the season with that news, and that's really huge for us going forward. I think it gives us a great shot to retain not only Luke Fickell, but also a lot of coaching staff members who we might lose otherwise. Maybe Marcus Freeman is able to be counter-offered a deal that financially would have kept him here had we had that deal going into it. You know what I mean?
Well, that, and you also you walk in and you beat a team like Notre Dame at home, and the prestige kind of wears off a little bit if you're pulling off wins like that,
Yeah, absolutely. And the shameful thing is I was listening to Dari Mel the other day on ESPN Radio on Saturday, and they were talking about, Mel was, very much like, no disrespect to Cincinnati, he's like, they've played a pretty weak schedule. Their marquee win is against Notre Dame, who isn't very good this year in his opinion. You know what I mean? So, they're going to find a way to try to poo-poo it. We can only play who we play. We can only play the people on our schedule.
Yeah, and the Big 12 will help with that, I guess. A little bit, maybe?
Yeah, I think that just the fact that it's labeled a Power 5 conference, right?
It's not a super strong football conference.
I mean, if you don't lose, we'll never have an undefeated season again where we don't make the playoffs, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way a power conference school that goes undefeated, regardless of who it is, ever doesn't get the nod to the college football playoff.
Right, and that's how it should be. But yeah, it's definitely been a fun time. It's been a time we haven't had in a long time.
Correct. I mean, it's been brutal, to say the least. I mean, we went through the rough years of Tommy Tuberville, with UC, obviously. And then even last year, I know we're not really talking Bearcats basketball today, but, I'm a huge Bearcats basketball guy, and the last couple of years under John Brandon have been really terrible. But I'm really excited for Wes Miller coming in. I am fired up to watch Wes Miller to be the head coach of the University of Cincinnati Bearcats. So that's been awesome. And then obviously Luke Fickell is just doing a bang-up job.
He's been a rock for the program. He's really just, the second he stepped on campus, has just built everything you want. He has an elite defense, and a quarterback that's projected to go first round. Yeah, who's just been leading the team, and probably could have went into the draft last year and decided to come back. So it's been huge.
As much as I hate Ohio State and how overrated that they are, because they are, the reality is that they believe that they have a winning culture, and he's brought that belief of winning culture to Cincinnati. And I know it took some time, and this is also a good transition, I think, over to the Bengals in a second, but it took some time to get his guys in there. You have to give a program, regardless of if it's collegiate or professional, you got to give them a chance to get their guys in there. And that's part of the reason I think, and we'll talk about this a little bit, Zach Taylor, the theory of this coaching staff, this wasn't working at first, and I think that's part of it.
Well, funny tidbit, you're saying he's got his guys. He's also done a really good job of making the guys who aren't necessarily his guys work within his system. You got to think about it. Desmond Ridder was not
class,
recruited
yep.
by Luke Fickell. It was
Correct.
actually recruited to the Bearcats by Zach Taylor,
Mm-hmm.
which is funny and cool. But Fickell's really picked it up and has that program looking like the number 2 in the nation that can go toe to toe with pretty much any program right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of going toe to toe, I mean the Bengals coming off a huge win against the Baltimore Ravens, and wow, all around national sports news. That's all you've been hearing: a statement win, which I agree. I think it's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
I think that kudos to the Bengals organization for making, while maybe not the most popular roster moves, doing the right moves and giving their coaching staff an opportunity to sink or swim with their guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And guys who mean a lot to this organization and have been great for the community as well as to watch, such as Carlos Dunlap, Geno Atkins.
Yeah.
AJ Green, guys, franchise heroes, if you will, in a lot of ways, and to move on from them, some in more unceremonious ways than others.
Yeah.
Kudos to them to be able to put together a program that's working. And what I'll tell you is they're spending money. They spent money on the defense, and it's paid off huge.
Well, you had to. I mean, you look at the past 3-4 seasons, the tail end of Marvin, the beginning of Zach, and you're seeing it right now with Kansas City as well. As while the NFL is an offensive-driven league, you need to have some resistance from your defense to be successful, because there's going to be games where your offense isn't putting up the amount of points necessary, and if your defense is just getting marched down the field on every down or every drive, it's hard. It's going to be hard to keep up, and it's hard on even the best. Like I said, the Chiefs are struggling right now, and the main reason is that defense. Now, Patrick Mahomes is also throwing, averaging like 2 interceptions a game or whatever it is, but a defense is crucial, and Lou took a lot of heat, and he's gotten his guys through free agency and through the draft, and it's really paying off. It's really paying off. I mean, it's been a long time since we've had a Cincinnati defense play at this level.
And I'll see your point in Razy one. You mentioned Patrick Mahomes. I think the biggest reason the Chiefs are struggling is because they have an offensive line that is not very talented and also just not cohesive. Yeah. And I think the biggest surprise this year for us, because I kind of expect the defense to be at least okay. I mean, they added some guys.
They had to be. I mean, if you're spending that much money and you're going out and getting that many guys, they have to be at least serviceable.
Right. But what's been the biggest surprise for me has been the offensive line. There's a lot of people who are upset when we traded down and took Jackson Carman.
Mm-hmm.
Riley Reif I thought was a good signing, but some people were skeptical about to what extent he would be able to lift what's been otherwise a abysmal offensive line, and also has really done great things in terms of bringing about a better locker room presence. Based on what I've been hearing, at least, like I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they had interviewed Riley Reif and Jackson Carman, and they were saying that before Riley Reif got there, or when he first got there, he was surprised to learn that the offensive line didn't hang out.
Yeah,
they didn't go to dinner and things like that. Now they do, but Riley Reif has been the orchestrator of that. I think he's been really big in Jackson Carman's development as well. Jackson Carman came in overweight, out of shape, a bit ill prepared, and if you listen to any interviews with him, he's kind of like a Renaissance man. So he has a lot of different interests. And being from the Cincinnati area, being a Fairfield kid, it's easy to be distracted by so many other things that are close to him for you. But I think that Riley Reif has set a great example for that offensive line in terms of making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. And I think it's shown. They're cohesive. They're not fantastic, but they play fairly well. Certainly better than I had expected. Quentin Spain is somebody who's been that's a steal.
He's been playing at an elite level, and he's playing on the vet minimum.
Yeah.
He's the second, according to PFF, he's the second ranked guard right now. And that's huge. And you're getting that play at the vet minimum. And, I hope they go and sign him after this season. But right now we're getting great left guard play.
Yeah. And I know he has not been great, but Trey Hopkins. coming off of an ACL.
It's tough. It's tough.
Coming off ACL, 5 months in. 5 months in, coming off an ACL. That's unbelievable. And playing at the level, like even just the fact that he's gone mostly unnoticed has been fantastic. You know what I mean? And I think that's the biggest compliment you can give an offensive line is when you don't notice them, they're probably doing an okay job.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it's been. And you know, speaking of Trey Hopkins and being injured, how about CJ Uzomah?
Man,
wow.
That's an unsung story of the season. You know,
Correct.
he goes down
blows out his Achilles.
week 3, week
Early,
4
yeah.
against the Browns and has came back and has been as solid of a playmaker as you can get at the tight end position right now, which has been a premium because you got George Kittle, who's supposed to be this elite guy, can't stay on the field. You know, Travis Kelce, I know you're a big Travis Kelce guy.
Big Travis Kelce guy.
He's been kind of quiet this season.
He's still very good.
I agree, but also, like, it's not a Travis Kelce season. And CJ Uzomah is tied for, you know, the league lead in touchdowns by tight ends right now.
Yeah.
He's showing great run after the catch ability.
Yeah.
And he's definitely proven to be one of Joe Burrow's favorite targets.
Well, and the funny thing is, I think the coolest thing about that is he's really demonstrating an ability to make plays in an offense that isn't featuring him very often, you know? In an offense where there's so many playmakers. I mean, you have 3 Pro Bowl receivers, Pro Bowl level receivers, one being probably going to be the rookie of the year if he continues playing at the rate he's playing now. And, you know, when the ball comes his way, he's ready and he makes a play. And it's not just, you know, Joe Burrow finding him when he's wide open, which has happened.
Yeah.
And there's been some great plays off of that, and that's some scheme, and that's Joe Burrow, you know.
That's also having 3 Pro Bowl wide receivers.
But also, I mean, just even in the Ravens game alone, you know, this game is a lot closer without Uzomah's runs after catches on 2 of those touchdowns.
Man, it's been impressive. It's been really, really impressive, you know, and his injury was one that you looked at and you're like, oh, man, that's a bummer, but you know, after he went down, they really didn't utilize the tight end much.
Correct.
And I think a big majority of that is because, 1, he was injured, and 2, Drew Sample is not good at football.
Correct. He's bad. You know what's funny is CJ Uzomah being the great teammate and guy he is. He on his 1 touchdown pass, he gave credit to Drew because he had a one-on-one with Calais Campbell. And I went back and watched that. He kind of got owned. Yeah. Like Calais Campbell just was just a tick too slow. Yeah. Like but whatever. He stood in his way. I get it's a tough assignment. Yada yada yada. I understand, but yeah, no, it's been cool to see him succeed, and then you know, obviously just the offense as a whole has been explosive, and that's something that we've missed since Carson Palmer was here. I mean, since you had Carson Palmer and Chad Johnson.
You had some of it with AJ and Andy.
But Andy just didn't have the arm to do it. No. You know what I mean?
Or the playmaking ability.
Correct. He couldn't extend the play.
Couldn't extend the play.
Correct. You know, like he's a hell of an athlete, but he's definitely a guy, if he has to get out of the pocket, you're kind of screwed. And, you know, regrettably, we saw the effects of that because once the offensive line
suffered,
didn't play at an extremely high level, and he just wasn't as successful. And that's nothing against Andy. Andy did great for us for a long time, but I don't think Andy Dalton's skill sets translates very well to today's NFL. You have to be able to move the pocket. You have to be able to extend plays to be successful because offensive line play in general across the board is just not as good. And you see the guys who find the most success are guys like Aaron Rodgers still finding success, obviously. You know, Josh Allen. You know, even to some extent, Ryan Tannehill, if you watch the Tennessee Titans, like they slide the pocket a lot because they do so much play action and boots.
He also gets an extreme amount of pull from play action.
Listen, I'm not disagreeing with you, but understand he's a hell of an athlete. I mean,
I get it.
He was a wide receiver at A&M before he transferred or changed over to quarterback. So
it helps to have the best running back in the league.
That's correct. That's correct. But you know.
But yeah, I mean, who would have thought, man? 5-2. 5-2, top of the division, top of the AFC.
Yeah.
Through 7 games.
Big win against Baltimore.
2-0 in the division as well.
Correct.
Against the perennial top dogs.
Yeah, and so that feels good. We do have the Jets this week, though. We've got the Jets this week. You know who plays for the Jets? Speaking of tight ends, Tyler Kroft. Remember Tyler Kroft?
He's a Bills guy too for a while.
Really? Yeah, Tyler Kroft plays for. He's out this week with injury. No surprise there. But no Zach Wilson. So we get this White, is it right?
Mike White.
Mike White, who we talked about before in pre-show, played at USF his sophomore year, started against UC, played decently well actually, and then transferred to Western Kentucky and became supposedly a star. To be honest with you, I don't really follow Western Kentucky football very much.
Me either.
Not a big, I don't even know what conference they're in, to be honest with you.
They're the Hilltoppers, right?
Let's see. Western Kentucky University. Let's see. I don't know. I don't know what their mascot is. I can't seem to. It doesn't pop up right away, to be honest with you. So, notable alumni. I think Mike White might have the top because I don't recognize any of these people either. So, but yeah. So, anyways, sure, the Hilltoppers. If you want to do that, that's cool. That sounds fun.
I don't want to mess it up.
But the Hilltoppers, there it is. Nice. Well done. Well done. Stand up and cheer. The Western Kentucky Hilltoppers football program is a college football team that represents Western Kentucky University. Thanks.
There you go.
They are in the subdivision level, however.
The what?
It's like
subdivision level?
Yeah. So there's 2 levels of D1, right? There's FBS and FCS.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah. So, anyways, not far from. They have campuses in Glasgow, Elizabethton, Fort Knox, and Owensboro.
Nice.
So, if any of you guys out there looking for a school, we found you one. Go be a Hilltopper.
But yeah, I mean,
what does that mean? How does one top a
hill?
hill?
They're on top of a hill, I guess.
Is that sexual?
No.
Do you give the hilltop?
No, stop.
Oh, okay.
Stop.
Sorry. I digress. I digress.
But let's call it what it is. Let's call it what it is. The Bengals come in as, I think they're an 11-point favorite in this, at least. They are the much better team. They're a much better team here. I mean, the Jets are decimated with injuries on a roster that's already not very good. Mm-hmm. They have a good defensive interior line. But outside of that, especially with their, Zach Wilson being out and stuff like that, it's definitely a game that the Bengals should go in there and take care of business. Don't you agree?
It's a game we should definitely win, certainly. What I will tell you, I think that in terms of what to look out for, the thing I'm most interested in seeing, the interior defensive line is good. You got Quinn Williams and who's the other kid, younger guy. Anyways, that should be a tough matchup for our interior guys, because if you had to pick a portion of the offensive line that struggles the most, it is the interior for us,
For sure, and definitely the right side as well.
Correct. I mean, Jackson Carman, while he's been very good, I think for a rookie, he's still a rookie. He's still figuring it out. Mm-hmm. And then, here's one other thing I'll tell you too is they get C.J. Mosley back this week. Yeah. That will be huge for them. Very good player. The Ravens have really given up some linebackers the last couple of years. That Judon and Mosley leaving back-to-back seasons. That's pretty wild.
I mean, they also have Corey Davis, who's going to be out.
Correct. Corey Davis will be out. So they'll be out without
their number one receiver and their quarterback.
Right. So, I mean, expect a lot of checkdowns and stuff. I just hope that we don't get too complacent on defense.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to just let them check down all day. But also understand they're going to try to keep Joe Burrow and this offense off the field. So if we can be aggressive early, get after the quarterback, force a young guy to make mistakes, I think that gives us our best chance to win. And even though I really think that we would have a better chance of forcing turnovers against Zach Wilson, I will say that in general, you put a guy who hasn't had a ton of NFL snaps under his belt, in rushed situations, good things will happen for your football team, especially with the guys you have in the backfield, whether that's Logan Wilson or Jesse Bates. Those are guys that have a knack for the football and are going to find a way to make something happen.
Yeah, I mean, can we talk? Let's step aside from the preview here and let's talk about Logan Wilson. I mean, my God.
Yeah, I've never seen 55 look so sexy on a player, to be honest with you.
Oh my God! From a team that's had substandard linebacker play for such a long time, it's so refreshing to have a linebacker that's able to go get it done in the pass and in the run game.
Correct. I mean, it's really, and even I'll tell you what, even Davis Prather last week had a hell of a game. Davis Gaither, I'm sorry. Davis Gaither had a hell of a game last week.
Yeah.
Forced a fumble that didn't get recovered, unfortunately for us. Had a couple big stops. He basically played spy on Lamar Jackson all last week and just did a hell of a job. And but not to take away from Logan Wilson, but tied for I think 4th in the league with interceptions. He's got 3 this year. Just a super
making plays.
Yeah, I mean
all over the field.
Like I said, just a knack for the football, being in the right spot at the right time.
Yeah.
He's really in today's NFL. He's the linebacker you really want. That's your will linebacker wants to be. You want him to be Logan Wilson.
Yeah.
If you have a Logan Wilson, you'll be doing okay. It's one of those things where, to your point, we've spent so much draft stock. Yeah. I feel like over the years on.
We've had some misses,
and it's been so rough, man. I mean, even going back to the Marvin Lewis era, like Ray Malaluga, Keith Rivers, like guys that were high level draft picks who weren't terrible necessarily, but not worth the 1st and 2nd round draft picks that we spent on them. I will say, outside of the Zach Taylor first year draft, which if you remember correctly, they were hired very late.
He had like a month to prepare.
Correct. Outside of that draft, I really feel like they've done pretty well.
You still got Jonah Williams out of that draft.
Nope, that was the 2nd year.
Who did you get the first year?
The first year was who was the first year?
I'm telling you, I think it was Jonah Williams.
Maybe it was Jonah Williams, but I feel like because that wasn't the year we traded. Because this first year we got Ryan Finley and Drew Samples
after
right?
Jonah.
Let me see. Gosh darn it, Bengals draft now. So that would have been the 2019 draft.
Yes.
Let's see here.
Jonah Williams.
Oh, Jonah Williams. Okay, fair enough. So yeah, that year was Jonah Williams, Drew Sample, Jermaine Pratt came out of that one.
Who else?
Ryan Finley, Rennell Wren, Michael Jordan, Travion Williams, Deshaun Davis, Rodney Anderson, and Jordan Brown.
Not great.
So,
not great.
I mean, but now in fairness to them, you do have 1, 2, your first 3 picks are still on the team.
And starting.
Playing
getting regular play time
significantly, yeah. And
I think Jermaine starts.
Jermaine definitely starts, but Drew Sample, I think, is ass. But
and Ryan Finley beat the Steelers in prime time, so that's worth the pick.
I agree. We traded up to get him, and it was worth it. I guess.
It was worth that one game.
Yeah, Michael Jordan though can. Oh, I didn't know he went to Ohio State. That makes all the sense in the world now.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that. Maybe I suppressed in the back of my mind because I didn't want to know. But yeah, well, and the year before that, we took freaking Billy Price in the first round, right?
Yeah.
And then the year before that was John Ross.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
We haven't had luck. I mean, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I guess it goes in spurts. I mean, the first, I don't know. Well, from like 2009 to 2014, I feel like we couldn't miss.
Well, yeah, and it showed on the field. I mean, we had the damn best roster in the NFL.
Yeah, and it wasn't through free agency signing. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, and you didn't need to. I feel like we could have won playoff games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we'd had some things that didn't go our way, and I'm not going to say that's the main reason, but like, we could have won some playoff games there.
Right.
With Andy Dalton at quarterback, but I am going to say that we were probably a quarterback away from being great.
Yeah. I think that's especially that 2015 team.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's especially true. But I mean that's enough about the past. We're in the present. We're in the now. Yeah. We are here for Joey franchise, this explosive offense, and going back to the point of the Jets game this Sunday. We got to keep on the roll. I think that you don't want to have a letdown game right before you go in and play Cleveland.
Another divisional opponent.
Correct. I think we have a bye week first. We have a bye week and then Cleveland, right? Is that true?
I would have to look. I'm not sure. I mean, has any of the other teams played a divisional game outside of us?
I don't think so. I mean, obviously the people who have played us, but
yeah,
no, I don't think any of the other teams have played. What the heck's going on?
When are they going to start playing each other?
Yeah, I don't know. Also, no, there's no bye week. The bye week is following the Browns game. Yeah, so
you know what? Can we talk about the Browns for a second? They need a bye week more than anybody right now.
Yeah, apparently, what's his name is going to sit again this week.
Baker.
Baker's going to sit again this week. Apparently,
I heard the opposite.
Really?
I heard he was cleared.
I mean,
He should go get his shoulder fixed, but he's like...
It's his non-throwing shoulder.
He's so scared to lose his spot.
He's
like,
fine. He's fine. I've lived with a torn labrum.
Yeah, you're also not playing NFL football.
That's fair. But he's not his throwing arm, you know?
Yeah.
Listen, if I was his athletic trainer and he came to me and said, my arm hurts, I would be like, oh my gosh, like, let's do some rehab. And then he's like, it's my left arm. I'm like, get out of here. What? Like, take some medicine, you dweeb. You know.
But yeah, I mean, I think we're past the point for the Bengals, right? Where a lot of the national media is looking at them and going, "Hey, this is a team to look out for," And when you talk about the great teams in the league right now, you don't look at the Buccaneers and say, hey, this is a trap game for the Buccaneers. Or you don't look at Green Bay and say, hey, this is a trap game for Green Bay. You go, this is a team that we expect them to go in and beat, and they're going to.
Correct.
And I think the Bengals can be that team, and I think Joe Burrow's mentality exudes that as well. I think his preparation's just as good as anybody else's in the league. You heard Jamar Chase talk about how Joe taught him to study film and to prepare the right way and to be a pro. And I think Joe's leading by example does that for the team. And I don't see the team, I think they look back at how they used to be and how they would feel when they played other teams and say like, hey, any given Sunday, somebody can come in here and kick your ass. Let's prepare like this team, is going to do that.
Correct. I mean, and here's the thing is, we talked about this before, there's no easy wins in the NFL. But if this organization wants to demonstrate that it really is, as their hashtag moniker says, a hashtag new day, like this is it. Because I will tell you that 100% Bengals teams of the past, Marvin Lewis era teams, would come out, slapdicking around, and they would either make this game a lot closer than it should be, or they would lose.
Yeah.
And so, I think that, as my good friend Nathan Clark says, good teams win, but great teams cover. They need to come in and beat the socks off these people. Yeah. They need to win by more than 11.
Yeah.
But let's do some score predictions here. What do you got? What do you think is going to look like this week when the final bell tolls? What is the score?
Okay. 35-17 Bengals.
So they cover. You're cover. So here's what I'll say: is Vegas has lost a lot of money this year. I think they know what they're doing. So I'm going to use Vegas to help me guide my score here. I still think it's a very convincing win, but I think that Robert Saleh gets his defense ready. They play a tough game, and it's a 24-10 Bengals victory.
I don't like it. I don't like your score.
I'm just saying.
I think we look in the fourth quarter and we see Joe Burrow with a hat on.
I mean, I hope so.
Yeah, we see him with a hat on and Brandon Allen taking a snap.
I'm not confident in that, but listen, here's
Why?
what
Is Captain Pessimism back? Like, what is going on? I don't understand. It's the Jets. They're the worst team.
They're still an NFL team, and to be honest with you,
they're not the worst team.
I didn't say they're the worst team.
No, I did. The Dolphins are the worst.
The Texans are easily the worst team in the NFL.
No, I disagree.
You're wrong. You're objectively wrong. And the only other acceptable answer is the Jaguars.
And you were wrong on Tua.
But I was wrong on Tua. But
your analysis is invalid.
I hate you. I hate the things that you choose to be.
It's on record. It's
why is it every
eternity.
time I try to do something fun and exciting for us, you make it not that way? We open up, we dust off the mics, we come up here, we record a podcast, we're having fun, bada bing, bada boom, we're doing things, we're saying things, we're speaking great music, and then you ruin it. You bring up the days of the past, okay? Well, like we said, we're not talking about the past anymore. It's a hashtag new day.
Listen, I'm just
it's a hashtag new day.
I'm just saying your terrible take is recorded for all eternity.
New day. New day. And so, I think 24-10, I think the game's actually more competitive than what we think it will be. They've played other teams tough.
Yeah, but I also everybody acts like Robert Saleh is this new thing. It's like it's the same thing that with Zach Taylor. We don't know if this guy can coach, man. He has no experience as a head coach. He has he had a lot of talent on that defense. It's like we don't know if this guy can coach. I think he's just the hot new hotness.
I don't think he's a bad coach. Let me put it that way. I don't
Yeah.
think they're come in and be some schleps out there. The other thing I will say is in California, traveling out west is actually worse. But one thing that players have said in the past is when you go to bigger cities like this, and there's a lot to do. Sometimes you get in the night before, you have a little too much fun, and you do some things you shouldn't do. And hey,
I don't know what you think our team's doing, man. I don't get it.
well, they're young guys. You know what I mean? They're out there.
I get it, but like also they're pros. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Speaking of dynamics such as that, isn't it odd that Joe Namath was kind of like a ladies' man, like a player back in the day, and used to be the quarterback of the Jets, and now it's a Mormon?
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, isn't it wild?
That's the antithesis of the New York Jets.
Correct, man. All soaking. You know what I mean?
Oh my god.
What a wet take that
Oh
was.
my god. Oh my god.
A lot of bed jumping,
Yeah.
I bet, It doesn't count if someone else is jumping on the bed for you, know what I mean?
Man.
So, I mean, yeah. And speaking of which, I really think that the Jets will actually play a better football game because what's his name is not starting.
I just disagree.
I don't think they'll turn the ball over as much. I think they'll play a lot safer of an offense.
I just think you need to have more faith.
I don't know. All right, man. So, before the season started, so we were cheating because we didn't get to have a show before the season started. I want to end on a way too early prediction. What do you think our final record will be for the year?
Let me look at the schedule.
What do you mean?
It's been a while.
Haven't you watched the Bengals games already? Shouldn't you know? You already know what 7 of them the outcomes are. You only have 10 more to choose from.
Okay, and I'm looking.
Who do you think we lose to?
I don't know. To be honest, I could see us losing to Raiders, the Ravens, and the Browns once. I think we sweep the Steelers.
Okay, I'm in on that. I think we split with the Browns, but I think we sweep the rest of the division.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. I think the Raiders is a good call. I think that the Chiefs actually will play us really well. I think it's going to be a more dire win game for them.
Yeah. I think we make the playoffs.
Me too. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say we finish 11-6.
Okay. So we have 2 losses. Who do you think we lose to?
I think we lose to the Chiefs and the Raiders.
That's 4. That's 4 losses. Who are the other 2?
Oh. Dang. Hey, math is hard sometimes. Oh, we lose to the Browns once.
Okay.
That was one of them.
So
you know what? I'll go 12 and 4. 12-5.
That's what I had too. I mean,
Yeah.
I told you. I said they lose. I said they lose to the Raiders and the Chargers, or not the Chargers, the Raiders and the Browns ones.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, you think 12 wins is good enough for a first place?
With an expanded playoffs, yeah.
Well, I know that I would definitely agree that we make the playoffs, but do you think anyone else in the AFC has more than 12?
I could see the Bills. I could also see the Titans too.
Bills are sitting at 4-2 right now. The Titans, man, that's fun. That's like watching football from like earlier in the 2000s.
I mean,
It's fun.
watching Derrick Henry, he's an animal. I mean, he's a different beast.
I don't know how he ball carries the ball too and stays healthy somehow. So, run the wheels off that man. We can do that with Joe Mixon too. Yeah. But all right, man. Well, we'll see. So we both had 12 and.
I think so. I mean,
that's lame.
I know. Listen. I said mine first. I said who was going to lose first.
You know what? I'll go back.
And then you miscalculated.
I'll go back just for the sake of argument. I'll go back to 11-6, and I'll say we drop to the Chargers as well. I think it's a tough game to win on the road. Maybe that's a home game. I really don't know, actually. But let's see. That is a home game. But I'll say we'll drop to the Chargers.
Okay.
just because I'm
Well,
fire.
we'll monitor that as the Bengals keep kicking ass.
Yeah.
And we'll be here tomorrow. It's as of this recording, it's the Saturday before the game. Tomorrow's Halloween as well, so happy Halloween to everybody.
Absolutely. Spooky season.
We are going to be having some brewskis, watching the game, and then we're going to hand out some candy. But hopefully we're in a better mood, so I'm not cursing children away from the house.
Yeah, don't worry. I won't let Andrew touch any children.
Okay, that's coming out of here. But yeah, we're going to hand out some candy, and my week is going to be determined on whether or not the Bengals come in and take care of business. But for me, that's all I got.
That's all I got here as well. So I want to thank you guys for hanging out with us. Do remember to follow us on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, we got to do that. I forgot. It's been so long.
It's at around _ Nati. My Twitter handle is at
Chow
_ Logan.
And I'm at Girly Hummin. That's GIRLIEHUMMIN.
Yeah, this has been another episode of Around the Natty, and it's been fun. It's been fun hanging out. I'm Logan.
I'm Andrew.
And we'll catch you around the Natty.